Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Living World of Darkness, Changeling the Dreaming. This scene is set in the New York Public Library. Dessa, our local resident researcher, bookworm, adventure planner, Slua, is currently looking for more books to add to her collection. There's always more books. She likes the off the wall, the ones that seem so outrageous and old that people just disregard them. Those are the ones that tend to have the most honest, uh, what's the word? Yeah, captivating, the most honest description of what really went on, especially when it comes to changelings and the mist. The mist always plays with their minds. It's a powerful boon and a powerful curse. And that's where this scene begins, with Dessa wandering the aisles of the New York Library.
Also in the library, Maxine, um, looking for books on Central Park, and oddly enough, books on werewolves. She is unfamiliar with the Dewey Decimal System and what it has to offer. She's her her hunt for these books is basically just her walking briskly through books. No, no, this looks boring. This looks even worse. No.
As she is going through books, she will definitely see a woman who very strikingly resembles Medusa, a head full of snakes.
Maxine notices and does her best not to be impolite by staring, but gives like a friendly, awkward wave. Hi there. Nice
She
hair.
turns, gives you a smile. A pleasure to meet you.
So, does the humidity make it hard to brush?
Sometimes it seems to have a life of its own, as it were.
Maxine uh, shakes her head and uh, like kicks at the carpet a little bit awkwardly. Yeah, I imagine perhaps conditioner would help.
And she looks up at one of the snakes close to her eyes. Oh, last time I used conditioner, they gave me quite a hassle.
Oh. Maxine kind of shies away from the snake hair. So, would you know where I could find any books on Central Park? History thereof, and, well, you know, and she whispers very conspiratorially, things that may live there.
Most of the books here won't give you the information on them, but you can get some information, and she'll lead you over to the history section.
Mm-hmm.
Here, this is the history of New York City. You'll find brief snippets in several of them about Central Park. They tend to keep it quiet when it comes to them, though. They don't like to share, so we stay away. It's for our own good.
Maxine looks absolutely crestfallen. So, they're real. What do they look like?
I think I know where a book. And she starts wandering around to a different section of the library. the horror section, and she goes through several of
Mhm.
the books, pulls one out, and on the cover there's a very gruesome werewolf look. On a bad day like this, on a good day like normal people.
Maxine just stares at the book, her mouth like opens for a bit and then closes. That is amazing. Have you ever seen one up close? What do they look? Oh, you already told me what they look like. What do they smell like? What do they act like? Do they travel in packs?
I would assume so. They are, after all, wolves.
Well, there's always that like lone wolf mythos, trying to be cool so you don't want to be part of the pack. Although I always thought that sounded really stupid because wouldn't a lone wolf be like the scraggly loner that nobody wants to be friends with? I mean, like you're too weak to hunt, so the pack just leaves you behind. It's not, I mean, why is that the marker for being hip? Am I right? I think I'm right.
Dessa
Okay.
will contemplate this for a moment. Words of wisdom from Apuka always comes with a twist.
Ron is sat at a nearby table, probably just out of earshot for him. He can't really hear what's going on, and he's engrossed in a book, some novel about sea legends or something like that.
Actually, I know somebody who I don't know if he would know much about land mammals, but I know he's big on sea life. The fellow over there at the table.
There's sea wolves?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. Anything's possible. And Dessa will
Mac-
come up and behind Ron, and he will hear a hissing of snakes as she leans down near him.
He hears that and he flinches slightly because he wasn't expecting it, but he knows who it is, and he turns around. He smiles. Dessa.
Ron, good evening. This is. How
oh,
is
I'm Maxine.
Maxine? Maxine, Ron, Maxine.
Hi.
Howdy.
He's a biologist. He might be able to answer your questions on those things.
He looks very curious. Yes, I'm a marine biologist and I work at the New York Aquarium.
Maxine bends down to like put her elbows on the table but still standing.
All right, awesome.
Are there sea wolves?
Sea wolves. I've heard sharks described that way before.
Ugh.
They are essentially the wolves of the sea.
I don't know. I mean, eh. They're not very furry.
Well, none of the animals that live in the water are furry.
She gives you a look like
What about otters?
you've gone crazy.
Well, yes, but
Or
they have the ability to be on land. Exclusive sea animals do not have fur
Oh.
per se.
Well, there goes my idea for a petition of nominating otters as wolves of the sea.
They could be. They can be very vicious. You don't want to know what they can do to seals.
Oh, I've seen the internet memes.
And he cringes and he's just like, kind of holds up his hands like he does not want to talk about that.
Wait, are we still talking about otters?
Yes.
I have never seen a meme with it. I'm gonna have to go Google something. She pulls out a very damaged looking phone, which it's working, but it's a piece of crap that has seen better days. Tries to Google something, it doesn't work. He throws it back in her purse. There's nothing about. I couldn't find anything about otters versus sea wolves, so.
He just smiles. Fair enough.
So, what do you know about Central Park and why we can't go there?
Well, he kind of lowers his voice, looks around. I know that there are other things out there besides us that are not natural, I suppose. We're sort of supernatural, I guess. Anyway, from what I heard, and they're referred to as park people, but I think that they're, and he whispers, werewolves.
Thank you for this wealth of new information. But
And they're very, very dangerous. But I think my best friend is dating one, kind of, sort of. I'm not exactly sure. I told her to be careful.
really?
Uh huh.
Do you think that your best friend's significant other could show me Central Park?
No, we
Damn
cannot
it.
go in there under any circumstances. No.
You do realize that this is cutting into the entire New York experience. Where am I supposed to get a crappy New York Central Park hot dog if I can't go into Central Park?
They sell
Well,
them outside as well.
the ones on Coney Island aren't any better than the ones in Central Park, so you can just go there.
I always assumed the badness was part of the experience.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it's off limits. As soon as that changes, I'm sure we'll be the first to know.
As soon as that changes, I'm going to be the first one stepping foot in that park.
Oh, you'll have a long line ahead of you. That fountain pours off glamour. But you'll be dead long before you reach it.
Maxine looks very disappointed in this entire exchange of information. It just makes it seem more appealing, you know, just, oh, you can't go in the West Wing, Belle, sort of thing, you know?
I know, and it makes it that much more enticing to actually go there when we're told we can't. Especially for. And he just smiles for those like you.
Some tell that they actually, well, consume your corpse like a meal.
Well,
I
I
don't know if
mean,
that's true or not.
they say the same about red caps.
I've actually seen them do that, though.
Yeah, Ron just, like, kind of. Some of them, yes.
And yes, some still do
Well, all
it
the
in
ones
this
I've met
day
have
and
been just
age.
big old softies.
We saw one start the process a couple weeks ago, eating somebody in front of a room full of people.
Good gravy.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the conversation that I get to have with them. It will be scintillating.
Wait. She a bit and thinks back to a night of hazy drinking. A red cap was eating somebody in front of a group of people. Is that red cap female?
Last I looked,
Yes, her name is Shea.
I can't hear either of you guys.
Oh, he said yes, her name is Shea.
A look of recognition crawls across Maxine's face. That's what makes me question whether or not werewolves really would eat a corpse. I feel like I've met the girl and she just seems like a big old softie to me.
Shea?
Salt to the earth. Good people.
Well, I mean,
from a neutral perspective, she bit off the leg of her friend and almost began swallowing the chunk of it that she bit off. The only reason her friend's not dead is because she was resurrected.
Yes. People are not always as they seem. Keep that in mind.
Maxine nods. Roger that, roger that. She taps her nose. Gotta keep an eye out. Dangerous sorts. I'm familiar. New York's got plenty of colorful characters.
That we do. That we do.
Ron nods.
I mean, just earlier this week, I was telling my boss, the colorful tapestry of civilization that resides here in New York really keeps somebody on their toes. It rejuvenates your joie de voir, joie de vivre. How do you say that? I've never spoken French in my life, but what I will say is that the cast of illuminating, joyful faces that I get to meet and deal with on a day-to-day basis just really blood flowing, and it puts a spring in my step.
And what is it you do exactly?
Maxine reaches into her purse and shows off her badge. I'm a parole officer.
Ron stops. He goes, wait. So you're an officer who is a rabbit?
That I am, my good sir. That I am.
So
have you met
have
Amber?
have you seen Zootopia?
Maxine scowls just for a moment. I have.
Ron just gets a big grin on his face. Seeing her scowl, he's like, then I won't say what I'm thinking, but I think we both know.
You should check out Club Vixen. There's a nice puka there. Her name's Amber.
She's a fox.
Well, foxes typically very well, just like in the cartoon. So I'm sure we will be fast friends.
Ron nods, grinning. He's very much enjoying that.
She's quite friendly. With everyone.
He pulls out his phone. He pulls out his phone and appears to send a text message.
Maxine just kind of cringes at the idea of being compared to Judy Hopps. And decides maybe it's best to change the subject. So bagel carts. There are a lot of them in the area, or is it like Central Park? This is just one of those things I'm never going to actually experience. No? Yes? Bagel?
Bagel
Smear?
carts. There's plenty of bagels around. And there's a nice Jewish deli. Serves bagels and lox down in Brooklyn.
I've never heard of lox. What is that?
And salmon. Yes, bagels and lox are very common Jewish food. It's thin strips of salmon on a bagel with cream cheese.
Maxine just kind of makes a face. I'm not big on fish on a blueberry bagel, but thanks. I mean,
Ron frowns. Fish is good on just about everything.
sorry, I'm getting grossed out at the idea of fish and blueberries.
You can get it on a plain bagel.
Ew.
You could get it on a carrot bagel if you really wanted.
That is a gross stereotype and not appreciated by the sophisticated likes as myself. And I'm sure that you, as a woman of high esteem and poise and class, understands that stereotypes can be very, very hurtful.
Then I apologize. Deeply.
Quizzical look at the puka.
Friendly look at the Selkie with like just really enthusiastic thumbs up.
He just smiles.
So, so what you're saying, so Central Park, we can't go, but is it we can't go or we can't go? Like, if someone were to go, something that makes it.
Something bad would happen.
Expect to not live through the situation.
Shucks.
We have been warned very matter-of-factly. Possibly as a rabbit you might slip through, but wolves do like to hunt rabbits.
But plenty of times rabbits outrun wolves.
Yes, but we don't know how many wolves you'd have to outrun, only to find yourself surrounded.
Is it an Ichabod Crane situation? If I cross the bridge, will the headless horseman follow?
I've never seen any of our people step foot within a Central Park. Last ones I heard that did barely made it out alive. And by barely, I mean they were missing several limbs. But their heart was still beating.
Ew. That's even worse than bagels with fish.
It's a dark, cruel world we live in.
Tell me about it. Fish. Ugh.
Ron just like, hey.
Next thing you know, he's gonna tell us he likes sardines and anchovies on his pizza.
Criminal.
Goes back to his book, kind of puts it over his face.
Well, officer, I think that's grounds for arrest then. Take him away. He might actually enjoy that kind of role play. It's usually the quiet kinds that do.
He blushes hard and he just puts that book as far over his face as he can get it. And then
Max-
he kind of whispers, "Have a girlfriend."
Maxine winks and does finger guns. Because
I'm laughing at a character because it's great. I love it.
Don't worry, Ron. I won't tell your little knocker. I'll let you keep this little secret.
He looks absolutely mortified.
Unless you're saying you're not with the knocker.
No, I am with the knocker. Very happily with the knocker. Thanks.
Good for you. You don't seem like one who's had sex yet. You're waiting?
Yeah, not that that's really any of your business.
Oh, everything in this world is business. Every drop of knowledge.
Okay, well, I'd really like to not chat about that right now here. Thanks.
No worries.
please don't mind me. I can't.
He's always come across a bit shy. Can't hold his drink when there's blood either. I think he
Digitized
fainted.
real bad. I didn't hear that last line.
She said that he didn't seem to handle the sight of blood very well. She thinks he fainted.
Oh. Well, blood's perfectly natural. I mean, not the fear of it. That's absolutely weird. I've never met anybody who's afraid of blood before. But I mean, don't be afraid of blood. All of your guts.
Can we change the subject again, please, and thank you.
So we can't talk about blood. We can't talk about sex. Shall we go back to talking about werewolves?
You can talk about sex, just not me and sex. You and sex is fine, just not me.
That sounds like only a third of a
Blood
conversation.
and sex.
And
Sounds like an exciting time for you.
he's just oh god, he's so red right now. Like he just doesn't know what to do with himself.
But yes, the only thing I really know about werewolves is what you can find in books and movies. Some movies say silver works on them, some don't, so I guess I would really suppose where the werewolves are from and which mythology is closest to the truth.
Well, it seems like it would be a real jerk thing to do to go into Central Park with silverware. I mean, I'd feel really, really upset if somebody decided to traipse into my house wearing like iron fencing. It's called courtesy. And people just don't seem to have it anymore.
That they don't. New York seems to take something away from people. Unless there's a large outside threat, most people tend to be all for themselves.
Maxine leans in to hear the whispering better. Out of character, it's because, once again, it got digitized, so I didn't hear the last part.
She said that New York seems to take something out of people and that they don't, unless there's a big outside threat, they tend to be all for themselves.
guess the only way we can change that is with a plucky demeanor and a new attitude, right? And she grins really awkwardly and like for just a moment, like the really cheerful face that she's had like the entire time, just kind of like the just general disgust of the people she's actually met since coming to work in this city.
Yes, it's quite an adventure out here. But yes, it's quite an experience out here. It's good to make friends where you can.
Um, nods, looks at the bookshelves.
Accidentally closes the wrong tab or the wrong window and exits the scene.
Sorry about that. I got booted.
That's all right.
Oh no.
Let me turn my overlay back on. If it'll let me. Okay. Are you guys still there?
Yep.
Back. Sorry about
Welcome
that.
back. That's all right.
So, yeah, Maxine looks and she goes, okay, looks at the books and back to the Slua. What's your name?
Do you want the gray or Vey?
I missed the last part.
Gray or Fey?
Well, whichever you're comfortable with. I know some people are very touchy about these sorts of things.
She'll pull out a business card and hand it to you. It says
Maxine
Dessa
looks
on
at
it.
the card.
If you need,
What?
it says Dessa on it. Dessa Smith, antiquarian and translator.
Antiquarian. That is such a fun word.
It is.
So, all antiques, or like, do you specialize?
I tend to go more towards the book end for my own personal collection.
So, do you have anything more interesting than the library does about Central Park?
Not necessarily about Central Park. Mine are more related to far older times, before we even knew about the land that was would be one day become Central Park.
One day I'm going to have to pick your brain about these things.
Just be gentle. And
Careful
watch
with
out.
doing that. Those snakes might bite.
They definitely might.
he had to get in a jab.
Sex and blood. So
Dessa chuckles.
she says that kind of loud for the library.
Ron gives he gives a glare, but it's not a serious one. It's more of a why.
Well, for your part, Ron, I hope that your first sexual encounter isn't as bloody as some's.
Was that really necessary?
Maybe if it's bloody, he will learn to associate blood with a more positive connotation than whatever it is that traumatized him in the first place.
Goes back to his book.
Wait, was that why you're afraid of both? Was your first experience? She just kind of like,
no.
Are you sure?
Yes. I have never had sex before.
Okay. The mock shock and disbelief like lingers on her face for like a second, and then she just kind of like rolls her eyes like, it is what it is.
He actually grins. I know it's not really a bad thing, but most people are shocked. They're like, Ron, you're so hot. Why haven't you had sex yet? I'm like, because I haven't. Whatever.
Yeah,
and he goes
yeah.
back to his book.
It's
I wonder
whatever.
if he's afraid that his penis is too big. I hear that's a thing with some black men.
Really?
Simple
Really?
casual conversation.
No, that's racist, Dessa.
Are you saying it's not true then?
No. It's actually been proven that a black man's penis is no bigger than any other man's penis. They still fall under the same averages.
Really? I would love to see the report on that, the scientific studies. Do
You
know
would
where
like to
find
do
them?
the scientific studies, you naughty girl, eh? Eh? No.
And she's being very sincere about wanting to know the studies and stuff.
Maxine steers into
I have your
uncomfortable
number.
situations.
I'll shoot you some links.
I appreciate it.
He's just looking at her very curious and confused, like, I don't get you.
It's the only woman in the
And usually
entire
people
world
look-
actually asking for dick pics.
Right? I mean, usually people will look at Puka like that, not a Slua.
It's true. It's true.
And she's just got a pleasant smile on her face.
Yes. The awkward silence makes Maxine start to fidget. Ears twitching. So, what are you researching there, Mr. Seal Ron guy?
Well, I'm sure that you've noticed the number of shark attacks and things happening recently, abnormal in the ocean. I'm pretty sure that whatever we're dealing with is not natural. So I'm trying to get more of an idea of some old myths and legends that might not necessarily be untrue. So here I am reading this book about sea legends.
She tries to like peek over and look at what you're reading. Is it anything good? I mean, when you say sea legends, are we talking Loch Ness or something more in Kraken territory.
Yes, all of it. I'm not ruling anything out. For all I know, it could be Cthulhu in the ocean. And he says that with a very serious look on his face. That is not meant to be a joke.
The urge to break the fourth wall is so painful. Okay. Sorry. Maxine just she finally sits down, like across from Ron, looking at the back of his book. So, reading these books, are they going to help you? Shouldn't you be? I mean, are you going to fight it, flush it, redivert the entire Bay Area into a trash can? I mean, what's your deal?
No. I don't want to pollute the ocean at all.
Should get one of those like suckerfish. Sorry. My experience with the ocean is very passing acquaintance.
He nods. I would guess that rabbits don't necessarily get along with the water too well.
What, you haven't heard that age-old saying, like a jackrabbit in a pond?
No.
Oh, very popular saying amongst my kind.
He nods.
Yeah.
Cocks her
So
head.
Huh?
She does it kind of cocks her head and is examining the jackrabbit puka. Like, how is that gonna work?
What, a jackrabbit in the water?
Yes, they're not quite built for swimming.
Fast legs, I just tread across the water. Just like a motorboat.
We'll have to put this to a test sometime.
I suppose they could skip across a pond like a rock.
There's also that. I mean, I had an uncle. He could skip across a pond and not even get his feet wet.
That's impressive.
Of course. And these ears, not just for decoration, perfect rudders. Of course, they do have to swim backwards and upside down. But
Ron actually considers that possibility, and he kind of nods, like, I could see it, yeah.
It is worth the trade-off of soggy ears.
For sure.
See, Joe, I told you, a shower is hardly the worst of your.
What?
Oh, sorry, I was letting Joe know that his complaints about getting wet when I take a shower are the least of his fears. I could just submerge him and leave him underwater for a while.
I thought snakes liked water.
The most of them do. He doesn't. He's picky. A finicky little.
Sounds like he needs to get the stick out of his ass.
Yeah. To get to his ass would be a pain, though.
Ron just starts laughing. So, have you named all of your snakes?
They have names, yes.
Well, what are they?
They're Steve, Bob, Ron, Joe, George, Fred, Francis, Jacob. Let's see. That one's Leonard. This one's Nimoy. This one is Sam. This one is Frodo Baggins the Third.
Wait, so you have a snake named Ron?
Yes.
What about Frodo Baggins the Second? Where?
And Frodo Baggins the First.
I imagine that would be Frodo Baggins, but Frodo Baggins the Second. Now you can't let this slip.
If you look carefully and they don't bite you, you could see several that were cut off.
Oh no. Sorry. Did it hurt?
Poor Frodo Baggins Jr.
Does it hurt when your hair's cut off?
No. I guess it's kind of the same. Poor snakes, though. They don't regenerate, do they?
Not quite the same way they would in nature, free on their own. Like lizards, you know. It'll take a few centuries for the two to grow back completely. Right now, they're barely more than little severed nubs. It's most disconcerting when they get out to an almost normal length and the head hasn't regrown yet.
And to think I complained about how long it took for my side shave to grow out in college.
I don't know how I feel about one of your snakes having my name.
Would you like me to name him Ron Jr. then?
I guess. I mean,
Or I can just call you Junior since I think he might be older than you.
you get a death stare. He's staring daggers at you. My name is Ron.
As you wish.
He's just shaking his head. And he's thinking to himself, she is fucking weird.
Maxine's just like watching the whole conversation, just with just focused attention. Yes, please do carry on.
Very well. What do you have a new name that you'd prefer? And she's kind of looking up at the snakes as she's saying that.
Mr. Snaky Face.
No, he's not going to change his name. I promise. He's very happy with it.
We should change this guy's name to Mr. Snaky Face.
You
then.
can name
One
him
of them.
Kyle.
Do you like Kyle? Would you be happy with Kyle? No. I'm just going to call you Junior then.
He seems satisfied with that.
If there's anything else that you need from me, I will be wandering around the old book section.
Thanks for your help.
You're very welcome. And she'll give a bit of a curtsy and lean her parasol on her shoulder and wander back towards the older books.
Maxine realizes that while she got Dessa's business card, she didn't give her her phone number, so she kind of like runs back towards her and she goes, "Oh, wait. I forgot to give you my information. If I don't know why you'd need me, but if for some reason you think of something," she like pulls out a note, her little notebook, writes down a number, and hands it to you. The name is Maxine, just in case you forgot. And she puts the notebook back in her purse. And here you go.
Thank you, Maxine.
And it was real nice meeting you. And Maxine heads back to the tables. Realizes that the seal's probably busy, so she just kind of like waves goodbye and makes her way out of the library.
He waves back, and he'll actually get up and he'll go find Dessa. And he'll say to her, "Why were you like that towards me? Bringing up all my shit in front of a stranger?"
Hmm. Hadn't really thought about it. I suppose, it just seemed relevant at the time.
I didn't see anything relevant about bringing it up. It was actually sort of out of the blue, and I don't understand why. Do you not respect people and their privacy?
She kind of cocks her head a little bit. Privacy happens in private places. Things that you see in public are no longer private.
It still doesn't mean you need to go around telling everybody.
I will refrain from doing so in the future then.
I mean, do you not care about other people's feelings and how they might feel about you telling strangers something about them that maybe if they wanted them to know, they might have told them themselves?
Very true. I do apologize. I will do my best to refrain from doing so in the future.
I appreciate that. You're very peculiar, Dessa.
I moved up from creepy to peculiar. Interesting. She has a little grin on her face.
You're growing on me a little bit.
Hopefully not like a wart. That would be disheartening.
No, not like a wart. I'm not sure like what, but not like a wart.
Wonderful. Can you reach that book up there for me?
Yeah, sure. And he'll reach up and grab it.
Much appreciated. Saves me having to get the step ladder.
Happy to help.
Good evening, Mr. Ron.
Good evening. Talk to you later. And he'll go back to his table and continue reading his book.
And I think we can end the scene there. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching.